everybody, it's Katherine from Jayne Katherine on Books, and I thought I'd do something a little bit different today. I think most of you will have heard of Try a Chapter Tag. It's been around on BookTube for a while now, certainly 2 and a bit years that I've been on here. There's been all sorts of variations of it going round. I never did it as a tag, but I liked the idea and thought it would be useful for me to choose my next mystery to read. If you recall, I've got a box full of mystery books bought from the works, and if you haven't, then you'll be able to find my March Mystery Madness haul in the cards. And to be honest, there's so many exciting books in there, it's very difficult to decide what to read next. So I thought, how can I do this? It's a little bit different. I'm going to read a chapter of each of these 4 books and make my decision then, which I'm going to read next. So I'll just show you the 4 books that I've just chosen them at random, the first 4 in the box. So we have The Sisters by Claire Douglas. It Ends With You, S.K. Wright. Don't Make a Sound, David Jackson. The Magpie Tree, and that's by Katherine Stansfield. Now I've been doing some reading and I'm all snuggled down here on the sofa, and I can't stretch my legs out anymore now because Nelson's decided he's going to plonk himself on top of my feet, so it's a bit awkward. What I'm going to do is I thought I'd read a couple of pages from each book out loud for you. I know when I used to do my short story series and I did a little extract from each book, many of you really enjoyed that, so I'm going to read a couple of pages, and also it'll give you the feel for these books in case you fancy going ahead and trying them yourself. Okay, so we'll try The Magpie Tree. The day I went to Jamaica Inn was the day I saw a man hanged. Goodness me, what a first line. The hanging was at the jail in Bodmin, and it was done early before the sun had time to rise higher than the walls where the gallows stood. By evening I was in Jamaica, and the hanged man in the ground, dropped in a pit behind the walls they'd hanged him from. He'd never escape. His bones would soften into the soil, and he'd become that wretched place. Feed it as he faded, while I was free to leave the moor. Go on with the rest of my life, that's what I told myself as the cart rattled up and high road to Jamaica Inn. But it was a lie, I would never be free of what I had done. Sounds a bit gruesome, doesn't it? The inn was full of bodies, and all of them men, save for me and Mrs. Williams. I presume they mean bodies that are still alive, not dead. That was not her name, of course. Not a true name at any rate. She had told me she was called Anna Drake. I didn't know if I should believe her. She asked me to work with her. I didn't know if I should believe that either, but I had nowhere to go after the hanging. Nowhere to go but to Jamaica Inn, where she was going. I'd lost my work on the farm because of meeting her. This woman calling herself Anna Drake. This woman now asking the man behind the bar for the price of the rooms. Paying was her concern, for I had nothing to my name, not a halfpenny, and so I looked about me at this place she'd take me to. Jamaica Inn was like all inns, white walls yellowed, slate flags dirtied with mud and candle wax. A thin dog gnawed a bone in the corner. The crowding made everyone too close, forced people to whisper. Pipe, smoke curled into the ceiling as if the fog had crept in from the moor beyond. Right, I'll carry on reading that first chapter and I'll get back to you when I've done. So finished the chapter of The Magpie Tree. I think this is going to be an interesting one. I'm liking the writing style very much, although it's a bit grisly. I mean, it does say on the front a dark and macabre atmosphere, and yeah, you feel that straight away. It seems as if he's just met, so the man in this has just met, not known her many days, this woman Anna Drake. He's already slept with her. That's a bit of a spoiler, I suppose, but he's been a bit of a naughty lad. And it seems as if she's investigating some children going missing, or she thinks that she's going to use that as a test case to see if she can set up like some sort of a historical detective agency. So I wasn't quite expecting that one there, but yeah, interesting. So we'll see how the others go. So I'll try book 2 now. Don't Make a Sound, David Jackson. It's very sunny here, so it's a bit difficult to see. That could be for blue. This could be for blue. So they prompt blue from March Mystery Madness. Okay, let's see what this one brings. What are you up to? The words startle him, but then Malcolm Benson finds the mental echo of the chuckle he failed to contain. He turns from his place at the sink, the amusement still written on his face. Harriet is at the table, mug of tea cradled in her small hands. It's her favourite mug, the one with Snoopy on it. He made certain to give her that one on this special morning. She has her eyebrows arched in that endearing way of hers, one of the features that first attracted him to her 30 years ago. He flicks soap foam from his marigolds, then touches a finger to the side of his nose. Wouldn't you like to know, he says. Her suspicions confirmed, Harriet lowers her mug to the raffia coaster. You're planning something. I'm always planning, he says. You know what? Planning and plotting. Her eyes shine at him. What is it? You'll have to wait. He faces the sink again, dips his gloved hands into the suds. He knows she'll be staring at the back of his head trying to read his mind. It's not my birthday for another month, she says casually. He remains silent. Is that it? Is that it? Something to do with my birthday? He looks at her over his shoulder. In her 50s and yet still such of a childlike innocence and wonderment about her. Is it a present? It is a present, but not for your birthday. It couldn't wait that long. Malcolm, you're teasing me now. Tell me, please. He had been hoping to draw things out a little longer, but it wouldn't be fair on her. Besides, he's as excited as she is to bring it into the open. He has kept it to himself for far too long. All right, he says, wait there. He peels off his gloves and removes his apron. As he heads towards the kitchen door, he sees how Harriet claps her hand in anticipation. He smiles as he walks all the way up to the tiny box room that is his study and all the way back down again. This is a huge moment for both of them, the culmination of an immense amount of effort and patience. He pauses before re-entering the kitchen. Close your eyes, no sneaky peeks. Okay, she answers, I'm not looking, promise. He walks through the door, his gift held out before him. Harriet has her hands tightly clasped over her eyes. There is a discernible tremor in her fingers. Right, he says, you can look now. She parts her fingers, slides them slowly down her cheeks. Her face registers puzzlement and then disbelief at the sight of the large leather-bound book. It's an album. He nods, he knows she's about to blub and already a tear is forming in his own eye. She lifts her gaze to lock with his. You haven't. I have. You found one? He smiles. Oh my lord, she said. Oh my lord, show it me, show it me. She leans across to drag one of the chairs around so that it's right next to hers. Malcolm sits down and places the album on the table between them. Are you ready for this? He asks. Malcolm, you know how much I've wanted to open it. Open the book. Well, I'm going to carry on reading that chapter. I thought it was going to be something really gruesome. I thought he was suddenly going to have a heart in his hand or something really gory. I didn't expect it just to be a book. But anyway, I'll that was suspenseful to no end. I'll let you know what I think after the chapter. Well, I finished that chapter, Don't Make a Sound. I was expecting it to be something really riveting and thought, oh crikey, it's only a book. So there's a few sentences with the two of them looking at this book and saying, oh yeah, getting all excited about it. And then we sort of pan over to meet Daisy. Now in the blurb it says, meet the Bensons. They're an ordinary couple that keep themselves to themselves. They've got a beautiful little girl called Daisy, but she's not theirs. So we pan round to the scene with them going to speak to Daisy. And oh my goodness me. I'm not going to say anything because it'll spoil it, but goodness me, does that make you want to read it. I was getting, you could feel the suspense in the first couple of pages, couldn't you? As I was, you could feel that suspense building. And then it was a bit of a letdown because you think, oh, I was expecting something really gory or something strange, and it's just a book. But it's not just a book, it's relevant. I don't know what to, but it's relevant to something. And yeah, there's a twist already. I think this is going to be quite difficult not to choose, but we'll go to the next one. It Ends With You, S.K. Wright. Let's have a look at this one. Oh right, it starts off 28th of September 2016, bad things going down in the woods. So it starts off with, it's just as if it's an image of social media. It says this video has been removed by the user. Strange. Prologue. I hear the scream and then I turn and run. It's pitch black in these woods. The moon was shining bright earlier, but now clouds have covered the sky. I grab my mobile and use it as a torch, a fluorescent square that shows me the way. The mud is squelchy and I nearly slip. I seize hold of a trunk, panting for breath. Another scream and I freeze, torn. Should I go back? My mind tells me to reverse, but my body ignores the command. I'm running, leaves kissing my cheeks, twigs curling against my hair, shrubs brushing my jeans. A refrain from that poem we studied in English zigzags through my mind. Whose woods these are? I think I know. His house is in the village though. The woods are lovely, dark and deep, but I have promises to keep and miles to go before I sleep. I heard that before, don't know that one. An opening, light, civilization. I burst out into the road, doubled over. My lungs roar with pain. My car is still there where I left it. I stab my car key at the lock and only succeed in scratching off paint. Again a try and again. And on the third go I hit the jackpot. I hit the jackpot. Slide into the driver's seat and bang the door shut. I glance around, worried that someone might have seen me. But this is a quiet suburban street and there are no lights on in the houses. I turn the engine on, startled as rock music blasts from the radio. I switch it off. I mustn't panic. I mustn't drive too fast. The woods are lovely, dark and deep. I gather myself, put the car in gear and drive away down the road, watching in my rearview mirror as the woods shrink to silhouettes and disappear. So I'll carry on reading this one and I'll get back to you. So finish that chapter of It Ends With You. Oof, this is going to be a tough one. So following that, the prologue that I read out, we've got Luke and we've got his friend Rob. They're having a bit of a fight, a bit of a scrap in the toilets at school. And then the police turn up and they want to take Luke away for questioning to find out if he knows anything about his girlfriend going missing. His girlfriend called Eva, and yeah, that sounds like this is going to be an interesting one. It seems Luke is from quite a rough background. They've got very little money. I think there's issues there. He's not got the proper school uniform. He's explaining all this. Everything's held together with safety pins. And then his friend Rob. He's from privileged background. And for whatever reason, they're having a real good old fight. It's not just a bit of play fighting. It's starting to get a bit violent before one of the teachers bring the police in to take Luke off for questioning. Oh, this sounds intriguing as well. I thought if I did this, it's going to make it easier to choose what to read next, and it's not going to do. Last but not least, we'll see what I think of The Sisters. This is by Claire Douglas. As you know, I like Claire Douglas. I've read a few of hers, so I'm still expecting great things from this one. Chapter 1. I see her everywhere. She's in the window of the Italian restaurant on the corner of my street. She has a glass of wine in her hand, something sparkly like Prosecco, and her head is thrown back in laughter, her blonde bob cupping her heart-shaped face, her emerald eyes crinkling. She's trying to cross the road, chewing her bottom lip in concentration, as she waits patiently for a pause in the traffic, her trusty brown satchel swinging from the crook of her arm. She's running for a bus in black sandals and shiny jeans, wire-frame glasses pushed back onto bedhead hair. And each time I see her, I begin to rush towards her, arm automatically rising to attract her attention. Because in that fraction of a second, I forget everything. In that small sliver of time, she's still alive. And then the memory washes over me in a tsunami of emotion. So I'm engulfed by it. The realisation that it's not her, that it can never be her. Lucy is everywhere and she is nowhere. That's the reality of it. I will never see her again. Today, a bustling Friday, early evening, she's standing outside Bath Spa train station, handing out flyers. I catch sight of her as I'm sipping my cappuccino in the cafe opposite, and even though the rain-splattered window, the resemblance of Lucy makes me do a double take. The same petite frame swamped in scarlet raincoat, pale shoulder-length hair, and the too large mouth that always gave the impression of jollity even when she was anything but happy. She's holding a spotty umbrella to protect herself from another impromptu spring shower, and her smile never fades, not even when she's ignored by busy shoppers and hostile commuters, or when a passing bendy bus sends a mini tidal wave in her direction, splashing her bare legs and her dainty leopard print pumps. My stomach tightens when a phalanx of businessmen in suits obscure my view for a few long seconds before they move. They move as one entity into the train station. The relief is palpable when I see she hasn't been washed away by the throng, but is still standing in the exact same spot, proffering her leaflets to disinterested passers-by. She's rummaging an oversized velvet bag while trying to balance the handle of her umbrella in the nook of her arm, and I can tell by the hint of weariness behind her cheery smile that it won't be long before she calls it a day. Okay, so we'll leave it there while I just carry on with that chapter and I'll get back to you. So, just finished a chapter of The Sisters, Claire Douglas. Not disappointing at all. Lovely writing style. You soon get into what's happening. It says on the blurb that obviously there's two sisters and one has a tragic accident, the twins, and to make a fresh start Abby goes to live in Bath. And it's just a little bit about her wandering around and taking in the sights and, you know, getting used to having a life without a twin. The one thing that I do like with Claire Douglas's writing is that you're invested straight away. You haven't got to read much before you feel invested in the character. She's very good at portraying characters that you feel that you want to know more about, or more about what's happened to them. So I like, you know, this is going to be a good book, I can tell. There's going to be probably some unexpected twists as usual. Well, this is going to be difficult. Looking forward to reading The Sisters for all the things I've just mentioned. But at the moment, I'm not fancying picking it up quite yet. It won't be far off, but yeah, feel as if I want something a little bit more gritty at the moment. The Magpie Tree, I think this is going to be really good. There's nothing in it that makes me think that I'm not going to like the style of it. It's a historical thriller, and you already get this eerie atmosphere, tense, and it, you know, wanting to know more. You already get that sense from the first chapter. Not quite fancying a historical thriller at the moment, so that's those two down. Now the difficulty is going to be between these two. So we've got It Ends With You, where we've got the two lads that have had the fight and Eva's gone mysteriously missing. Or we've got Don't Make a Sound, where the family's got things to hide from the neighbours, shall we say. And they've got a young girl, Daisy, who's 10, that doesn't belong to them. So whether they've stolen her as a child or something, you know, a younger child, I'm not really sure. So it's a bit difficult weighing the two up. Both equally pulling. I think with this one, Don't Make a Sound, it gives me the vibes of The Room, Emma Donoghue. Nothing, you know, we don't know yet, we haven't read enough of it, but I'm not quite sure I'm ready for a girl that's been locked up or stolen from her parents. It's difficult though, I am really torn to this. I think just picked to the post, It Ends With You. It seems quite contemporary. It seems something a little bit unusual. We've got the trope of you know, somebody, a young girl that's been taken and hidden away, locked up or whatever. But this just... not quite sure what the tropes are going to be in this, where it's going to lead. So I think for that reason only, I'm going to choose this one. And yeah, this is going to be my next read. So hope you've enjoyed that. I thought it was going to be a lot easier than that, actually. And I think if perhaps I'd have done this on a different day, it's all about mood reading, what you're fancying next. You know, I might have chosen differently. The one thing that I have established is that I'm really looking forward to reading all four of them. I will get to all four very soon because, yeah, they all sound like they're going to be really good. And I think if you get that feel from the first chapter or so, then, you know, that's a good sign. We all know that they can be great at the beginning and go off. We do know that. But so far, so good with those four choices. But I'm going to, yeah, read this one next. It Ends With You. It started with her, but it ends with you. S.K. Wright. See you again next time.